And now, allow yourselves in going forward with your meditation to become comfortable, at ease, breathing gently, softly, and being kind to yourselves, being gentle with yourselves. And whatever music you wish to add, whatever images you wish to add, allow yourself to go with the flow and know that you are being given an opportunity, what those symbols mean, what those characters mean when they say what they say, and how you can form relationships to them. Relationships with your belief systems, which is what those characters represent. And allow yourself to know them, to see them clearly, to discern for yourselves which are really representative of positive and negative ideas. Do not be swayed by what some of the collective consciousness stories may tell you those stories should mean, those symbols should represent. Write your own story. Give them your own meanings. Write your own tales. Because as we have said before and will say now, and will probably say again, what your society has long considered to be nothing more than fairy tales is actually the way life works when you allow it to. It's magical. It's transformative. Spin your straw into gold. Do not slumber and do not worry. You will find the answers. You will identify the elements that you need to identify that will free you from your fear-based beliefs. And you will not have to give up the precious bond with the child of your being in order to experience the freedom that you deserve to experience in your life. Write those stories. See yourself penning them on paper in a blank book. It is your story, your tale, your magical journey, your process of discovery and profound insight. Allow yourself to live that story, to live in the pages of that book, to illustrate it for yourself in the way that works for you from your imaginational connection to your higher mind, and allow your higher mind to guide you in that tale. For it will always guide you true. Guide you to more of yourself. Guide you to discover treasures that were heretofore buried and invisible to you, if you are willing to dig more deeply into the treasure chest that you are, and discover the gold that lies within, instead of allowing the brambles to grow up around your castle by slumbering for 100 years. Allow yourself to find your way through and awaken of your own right. Awaken yourselves. Awaken your power. Be alert. Pay attention. Listen to what you're saying and ask yourself if that's what you want to convince yourself is true, or whether you would rather pay attention to a different story than some of the thoughts and sayings that have passed through your lips and your mind in the past. Gather yourselves together and spin yourselves into a golden version of your being that shines forth as a living example to others, so that others may also write their own stories and live their own fairy tales of truth, so that together you can all, side by side, create a new library of books that extends to the heavens, of tales of truth, joy, love, of action, of valor, of creativity, of boldness, story. Good day.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania.
We have lots of great questions, especially about ghosts.
All right.
Where are our loved ones who have passed away, and how can we connect to the people we've known when they're no longer in their body? How can one go and find them when they aren't in time and space anymore? And if we do reach out, how can we know that we are actually connecting with them rather than our idea or image of them?
Well, first of all, they're right here. It's just that they're in a different vibrational frequency. So the idea is that everything is here and now, including the spirit world. So they're right here with you. Now, that doesn't mean that they're always paying attention, but the idea is that it simply takes a slight shift in frequency for them to be aware, to connect with you when you send them any kind of message, be it verbal, emotional, or a thought. You are connecting. They do receive it. You may not always receive what they send you back. You may not always be paying attention or be of the correct frequency, or your thoughts or beliefs may be getting in the way of receiving their message clearly, but they are always sending love and encouragement. And if you allow yourself to know that and be of that same frequency of love and connection, then just the very idea that you wish to connect lets you know that you are connecting. You just have to allow yourself to clear yourself out of any ideas, thoughts, or belief systems that would make it seem difficult to receive what they send you, and also pay attention to the synchronicity in your life, since that is often an easier way for spirits to get a message across to you. But again, they always receive. Now, whether it is your own thoughts or not, as long as you pay attention to the idea that what you are receiving, even from your own higher mind or from the thought patterns within your physical mind, as long as they are encouraging, connective, expansive, positive in that sense, then you can rest assured that they are at the very least in harmony with the kinds of messages and thoughts that spirits would send to you. If there is any fear in them, anything that diminishes you, anything that negatively judges you, anything in that sense that feels disconnected, you are probably dealing with your own fear-based beliefs or a negative ego echo. So it's about the energy, the way in which the connection or message or information makes you feel, and that will assure you that you are making a connection in a positive way to the spirits, whether you are capable of literally perceiving their message or not.
Okay, thank you. Please enlighten us regarding the relationship between capturing orb images with digital cameras and the etheric realm. Are these orbs conscious entities? And if so, are they trying to communicate with us? What is it that they're trying to communicate with us? And is it necessary to use a certain type of flash mechanism for an orb image to appear?
Many devices on your planet, such as digital cameras, are simply capable of picking up certain frequencies that your eyes do not commonly see. The orbs can be many things. They can be probes from another dimension, in which case they wouldn't necessarily be conscious. They would be more like mechanisms made of energy, constructs designed for certain purposes of gathering information. But in its natural state, a spirit will usually return to the shape of an orb. It doesn't necessarily project what you would recognize as a bodily image when it's in its natural state, though it can do so. It can shift into that form if necessary. So sometimes the orbs will be representative of spirits that may just be around you all the time, or may be coming and going. And if you are sensitive enough to perceive them, or your devices are sensitive enough to perceive them, they don't necessarily always have a message for you. You may just be perceiving what is around all the time and breaking through that barrier that allows you to perceive that they are always here, just on a different frequency.
Can you tell us what ghosts are made of? And you've said that they are on the etheric shell of the shell's birth. So is there like a ghostly periodic table of elements within their shell? And are ghosts made of different materials on different planets?
The idea is that the shells are quite common on many different planets and would be very similar in terms of a ghost on one planet or a ghost on another. There may be some slight differences depending upon the vibrational frequencies that are necessary for beings to perceive them or for them to express themselves in different cultures and different civilizations and different worlds and dimensions. But the idea in general is to understand that everything that you think of as an element in your physical reality, your so-called periodic table, also have energy components, non-physical components. Remember, as above, so below. Everything has a non-physical template that allows the physical template to base itself upon. So the idea is that it may not be as many elements necessary to be expressed energetically in ghostly material, but overall, it is simply a refined version of physical matter. In other words, the idea of physical reality is a densification of the idea of what we call electromagnetheric energy. Therefore, it can have a more refined, higher vibratory representation, or it can have a denser, more crystallized representation that you would recognize as physical matter, and any level in between. So the idea of a ghost appearing physically, or even to some degree to your senses, even transparently, would simply be a dialing down of the frequency, a lowering of the frequency of the same material you're made of in general, maybe with not as many components. But the idea is that you all are made of electromagnetheric energy. It is kind of the idea that is recognized or labeled as ectoplasm when it is of a certain frequency densification. And to strengthen that densification would render it down into physical matter, would take on more corporeal elements that are designed to represent itself as a dense crystallization depending upon the elements that are involved. But the idea is that it's all kind of the same matter at different density levels. Again, by a crude analogy, much the same as the idea of ice and water, liquid water and steam are all the same element, just at different frequencies. So it's sort of similar to that idea.